I'm just saying what I think is really going on. And what I think happened is that Delcy Rodríguez, Trump, and Rubio all made a deal beforehand, behind the scenes, and that she handed Maduro over to the U.S. government. Okay, so I'm sure everyone's aware of what's been going on. It's been all over the news. The U.S. Has basically went into Venezuela and captured Nicolás Maduro, and they have taken him prisoner. And what I'm finding interesting is that the new interim president, Delcy Rodríguez, has been in Venezuela, and she has been openly defiant, saying that they are not going to take orders from Trump. But I'm not buying anything she's saying. I think that her, Rubio, Trump, I think they all made a deal well beforehand and that she was in on the whole thing. And if you actually listen to all of Rubio's interviews this morning on all the Sunday shows, and you read between the lines, he's basically admitting it just in very careful language.
The person that was there before, who was not the legitimate president of the country, was someone we could not work with. We are hopeful that there are people in place now. We're going to find out. The proof will be in what they do or fail to do, that will start making some of these changes. But we understand that there are people in Venezuela today who are the ones that can actually make changes.
So like I said, Rodríguez has gone public stating that Venezuela is not going to be a colony, that she's not going to allow the Venezuelan government to be ruled by the United States, and that there's only one true president, and it's Maduro. At the same time, Rubio's on U.S. television, and he's shrugging that all off. And when reporters this morning asked him about Delcy's statements, he kept saying her rhetoric doesn't matter. People say things in public for all kinds of reasons. What we care about is actions.
Well, we're not going to judge moving forward based simply on what's said in press conferences. We want to see action here at the end of the day. Rhetoric is one thing. You see rhetoric for a lot of different reasons. What I will say is moving forward, it's very simple. We're not going to be reactive here to statements at press conferences or what people say in a certain interview or what some media post somewhere. What we are going to react to is very simple. What do you do? Not what you're saying public. What happens? What happens next?
And then he even says that the people that are now in charge are openly more compliant and that he believes they are more willing to work with the United States than Maduro was.
But we understand that there are people in Venezuela today who are the ones that can actually make changes.
The only way he would know something like that is if they had already made a deal. And that's why I think that Delcy was in on this whole thing. Because on one side, she's saying we're not a puppet, we're not a colony, we're independent. And then on the other side, Rubio is saying, we don't really care what she says public. She can say whatever she wants. We just care about what she's going to do.
You spoke with Delcy Rodríguez, who is now, according to President Trump, sworn in as the president, as the leader of Venezuela. What exactly did she agree to do when she spoke to you?
Well, right now, we are going to see what happens moving forward. Let me just say that. I'm not obviously going to have these conversations in the media. These are delicate and complicated things that require mature statesmanship, and that's what we intend to do. But our goals remain the same. The difference is that the person who was in charge, even though not legitimately, in the past was someone you could not work with. We just could not work with.
But his number two is now running the country. His number two is someone you can work with. And is that what you're implying?
We are going to make our assessments of people. You're asking me to make an assessment. We're going to make an assessment on the basis of what they do.
You don't talk like that unless you already believe that you have leverage and cooperation in place, that you've already orchestrated that behind the scenes. I mean, he's not speculating there. He's not inferring that. He's saying, matter of fact, Delcy is someone we can work with. I mean, that is literally him saying that the U.S. removed the one person that was in the way, that wasn't allowing the U.S. to do what it wants to do. And now we're dealing with the person that we know that we can. So that's why I think a deal was made. I don't think the U.S. just grabbed Maduro and crossed its fingers. I think Delcy wanted to stay in power. This was a way for her to secure power, for her to remain safe. Now she knows that Maduro's gone. She could just play nice with the U.S. while talking shit behind the scenes to the people in Venezuela, and she'll stay secure. I mean, Rubio's tone only makes sense in that context, right? He's like really relaxed about Delcy Rodríguez's public defiance because he doesn't take it seriously. He knows it's just a bunch of hot air. And he's confident about how compliant she's going to be because they already negotiated that. They already agreed that that's what's going to happen. If there was no deal, Rubio's language would be reckless. You don't publicly dismiss a new leader's statements unless you're confident that their private behavior is already like in line with what you want it to be. And now the oil companies are going to be able to go in there and do whatever they want, and Delcy stays in a secure position, and Rubio and Trump and all the other guys are happy with what they got. And I'm not making any judgments here. I'm not saying if this is good for the U.S., bad for the U.S., good for Venezuela, bad for Venezuela. I'm just saying what I think is really going on. And what I think happened is that Delcy Rodríguez, Trump, and Rubio all made a deal beforehand, behind the scenes, and that she handed Maduro over to the U.S. government.